Good Wednesday evening, and welcome to our inaugural episode of This and That, the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Gilloway, joined by my friends and co hosts for this show, Keith Rutherford and Bill Bostic. We'll use the opening segment of this first episode to talk about our plans for the podcast, the guests we're hoping to schedule, and the topics we're looking to explore. We'll then bring in Koons Pool board member Erica Baylor, who will address the recently updated status of the pool's 2025 season, which has been met with a lot of excitement. I think I brought Erica in here when I told her she wasn't going to come in at first, but that's okay. We'll see how we do here with everybody, Erica. Koons Pool has been providing an affordable and convenient source of recreation and relaxation for 4 generations of Lower Paxtonians, but it has recently come to light that there have been challenges in keeping it operating. We'll discuss these challenges with Erica and what has been done to assure its opening for a 66th season. We have no sponsors for the show at this point. We want to see what we want you to see what we're doing, what we're offering, the topics we're looking to bring to our viewers before you decide if you want to partner with us and be one of our sponsors. And that's the fair way to do it. If it's a good fit for both parties, we'd love to have you as a sponsor, whether you're an individual or a business. So let's jump right into this. Erica, do you want to hang with us the whole time? We're not gonna muzzle you. You could put your microphone on if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, here we go. This and That, the podcast, and the way I got the name This and That is maybe dumb as it may sound, is I knew I was going to start this podcast a few months ago, and somebody asked me, well, Joe, what's it going to be about? I said, I don't know, this and that. And when I walked away, I thought that's the name, So I'm going to go down some of the topics that we have kind of slated and some of the guests we already have commitments from. And so, Bill, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you, Joe, on doing something on the internet.
How long have we been separated?
Since about August 2019 is when I dropped out because of family situations. So
yeah, Bill and I worked together on Linglestown Gazette Sports for, I don't know, 3 years maybe, Bill?
Yeah, it was about 3 years, maybe a little bit less.
And we had a lot of fun. And we made friends in the community. And so, Bill, I'm excited to be back working with you. And Keith is my cousin. His last name is Rutherford. He only goes by Keith on the podcast here. I see. And then, of course, let me introduce Erica Baylor, who's going to, I don't know, if you want to contribute to the first segment of this show, you're welcome to. But Erica, we brought on tonight to talk about Koons Pool. And, what we're going to do with this podcast, we're going to cover a lot of local stuff. Local stuff is what local people want to see, of course. And then we're also going to cover some stuff that has nothing to do with Lower Paxton Township. Nothing to do with Dauphin County, maybe nothing to do with Pennsylvania, maybe something to do with, beyond these borders that I just mentioned. We have some local musicians that we're going to bring on. So let's just go down the list. Guys, interrupt if you want to. You can add to it. Erica, if you have any ideas, throw them out there. So we're going to do a little bit of Lower Paxton Township government. And what is government? Specifically, we're talking about the Board of Supervisors and what's been going on with them. And we don't want to get into that. That's for another day, another night. But it's kind of an SHIT show, and people want to know a little bit more about what's going on. There's a buzz that what did we lose? 4 supervisors in 3 months or 3 and 4 months, Bill?
Yeah, I think it's been 4 and 4 months.
4 and yeah, okay. So it's been a mess, and I don't want to discount that there's probably people that are trying to get things turned around, but it just doesn't seem like it's getting any better. So then we're going to cover some Central Dauphin School Board stuff. Another, of course, local issue, local topic. And then here's an interesting one. And this is one of the first groups of people that I reached out to. I have some friends that have lived in this area for decades, for a long, long time, grew up, went to school, Central Dauphin schools. And these guys are musicians, and they've been playing music since they were probably in junior high, and they're still playing music. So we had Deuce Gibb coming on to join us, Deuce Gibb of the Martini Brothers. Dan Smith, who lives abroad now. He lives over in Europe, but he's with a band currently called Pretty Please, and that's Pleas. And they just released a disc recently. Jeffrey Gaines, who is with Jeffrey Gaines, he performs under his own name, and he's been an international recording artist for decades now, for a long, long time. Shay Quinn used to be with the Sharks years ago, and I would have to catch up with Shay a little bit to see what he's doing these days. I'm sure it's making music. And then Mike Giblin, who he was with Cherry Twister, was what I remembered of Mike, which was a really good local band. And he's now with a band called the Split Squad. So we're going to bring them all on together some night and talk about, their start in music and how they've been able to maintain for all these years. And these are great guys too. So we're excited for that. Then we're going to do a show on addiction and recovery. So we have some friends that are recovery agents or specialists. They work in the field. I have a lot of friends that are in recovery themselves that don't work in the field. I am a recovering alcoholic and addict. So that's how I have connections in that realm, in that field. So,
hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Ellen, I think you've seen the gentleman from Carlisle, Carl Rominger.
Yeah,
he's actually doing stuff online here about recovery.
Bill, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I just was thinking today that maybe I'll reach out to Carl Rominger. He's recovering gambler.
Yeah. Gambler, okay. And if you don't know Carl, he was what was the name of the Penn State coach that got in all the trouble with the alleged child molestation? Sandusky. Yeah, he was one of his lawyers whenever
he was
going through the court system.
So yeah, I think I like that idea, Bill. And then we're going to talk about on another episode. These are all separate episodes, of course, but we're going to talk about the challenges, and this is something that Erica is familiar with. The challenges of schools in lower income communities. And I've already got commitments from Central Dauphin School District Superintendent Eric Turman, along with a friend of mine, Travis Waters, who's the Chief Recovery Officer of Harrisburg School District. So we may add a third to that, but those two are kind of heavy hitters, and we'll be able to probably learn whatever we need to learn about the challenges of schools in lower income communities. Along those lines, Steelton High Spire School District has been placed in financial recovery status. And Bill, have you seen that? Keith, have you seen that?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I think they've been in that status for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that's nothing new.
Well, when did it start? You guys know?
I don't know the date, but no.
All right. Well, we're gonna find out all about that.
It's a neighboring school district.
Yeah, it's absolutely. In fact, they're kind of almost intertwined.
Yeah.
There's people that live right near the high school that go to Central Dauphin East,
right,
and that live
close across the street. The people right across the street go to East.
Yes.
I graduated with some of them.
So yeah, that'll be another interesting one. And here comes Erica back. Hi, Erica. All right. So and then we're going to talk about. We have some kind of public service guests. A friend of mine by the name of Scott Weaver. He's a certified financial planner. We're not bringing Scott on to try to earn your business. We're bringing Scott on to try to help people make heads or tails of maybe, how they want to navigate through these times. And I'm not trying to talk about these times in general. I mean, but there's always different ways to go about managing money, whether you have a lot of it or very little. And Scott is going to come on and talk about some kind of prudent ways of approaching, managing your money and trying to kind of make a financial future for yourself and your family. And then we're going to kind of shift gears and talk about, this is a sports related thing. And I'm not going to do any high school sports because we have a high school sports show and page already, Lingelstown Gazette Sports. But I'll tell you what a lot of people are ticked off about, and a lot of people are interested in, is this NIL and transfer portal. Does everybody know what that's all about? Erica, do you know what that's all about? NIL and the transfer portal? Okay, I figure you did. You work around a lot of kind of high-end athletes, I would say, some of the better athletes in the area. And if you don't know, NIL is name, image, and likeness, and that is that athletes are now amateur athletes are now getting paid for their services, and mostly college athletes. It is legal to get paid in Pennsylvania for your name, image, and likeness in high school, but I don't know if anybody ever has outside of in our area, outside of maybe a sneaker contract or something like that. But this transfer portal is kind of getting crazy. Where I mean, I think there's kids probably on their 4th or 5th school in 4 or 5 years, and so it's kind of turned into like the Wild West, this NIL and transfer portal thing. So we want to get some people in who have a grasp and an understanding of that.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, Bill.
If this show takes off, do you think there's any NIL money for us?
I could see that in the future. What do you need, Bill? I get you a sneaker contract. I get you like a penny loafer contract. How's that?
Just some coffee. That would be fun.
All right, yeah, coffee. Bill, Erica, what do you like to drink?
I'm not really a coffee person, but some drinks, maybe some kind of Gatorade.
We'll take you out to dinner. How's that sound? We gotta see if it takes off. Keith, I know what you like. You like coffee. Okay. And we're gonna do a show on health and wellness. Okay, now that's gonna be a boring show for a lot of people because a lot of people don't.
I'm actually drinking a latte tea tonight.
Oh Lord. I have coffee, black coffee in my
Water.
Modern Imprint carafe mug. They're one of my sponsors for Lingelstown Gazette Sports. Health and wellness. We're going to try to get a nutritionist, maybe a personal trainer, and talk about again. I get it. This isn't not a real sexy topic. It's not something that people are going to be kind of going crazy over. But let's just see if we can help people get a little healthier. How about if we help ourselves get a little healthier, guys and gals? Charter schools. Charter schools is a big issue right now.
Yeah.
I think, Erica, you can.
Oh, I would have to say about that.
You would?
Yes.
You're cutting in and out, Erica. I
Sorry,
know there's nothing.
Switched over to my phone. Wi-Fi, but
We're kind of hearing like every other word. Is that how you guys are hearing it?
Yeah, it is cutting out a little bit.
She could be.
Were you on your computer before?
yeah, it just kept dropping the. It
Okay.
kept dropping the.
So, yeah, we're going to try to talk about some charter school issues. There was just a big problem down in Chester with a charter school. I think they uncovered or charged, I don't know, 20 educators with either abusing children or failing to report it. And it's not just because of that I think we need to talk about charter schools. It's because some of them are really, really good. But I think most of them are like low performing. Erica, help me out here. I don't want to be
The issue, in my opinion, with charter schools is the lack of accountability on part of the charter school. Because the public school districts are paying,
Right.
we're paying out to these charter schools to educate our kids, and there's no return on that investment. The kids aren't they're not learning, they're not moving through the next grade, and then we get them back and we have to catch them back up after spending all that money.
And you are a teacher. Let's qualify you for having that opinion. Where do you teach, Erica?
Harrisburg School District.
Okay. And it's what kind of, is it special education or what do you call it?
Yeah, I'm a special education teacher.
Special education. Okay. So you understand this. And again, nobody's trying to bash charter schools. I mean, that's not but there are issues with a lot of them. And I've done some homework, and not just for this upcoming show, but I do a lot of reading here because I have plenty of time. And I know that there's a lot of low performing charter schools in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, very low performing charter schools. So, the increasing amount of crime in the Harrisburg area and beyond. Let's see if we can get to something about that. And then there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Kiesling. He's a local author. I think he's around in his mid-60s, but he went to Susquehanna Township High School, and he's a writer, and he's written some really good books. Sins of Our Fathers, he wrote, and that has to do with the I don't know exactly how to call it, the CTA scandal from back in the 1980s with Bill Smith, William T. Smith, and Bud Dwyer. Bud Dwyer famously committed suicide on television, on live television. So, and then he wrote a book called The Midnight Ride of Jonathan Luna. And Jonathan Luna was a federal prosecutor that was killed, and I think they left him in a creek in Lancaster County.
Yes, definitely out of Lancaster County.
It was up in Lycoming.
I thought it was in Lancaster County, Bill.
Definitely in Lancaster. Yeah,
It was Lancaster County. So Bill is a what kind of writer would you guys call that? When you wrote true crime writer or
nonfiction?
Well, nonfiction, of course. Boy, I'm glad I brought you on, Bill. I wouldn't have been able to come up with that one. Well, no, there's like a genre to that, where he really delves in deep and
real life crime, I guess.
Okay, let's call it real life crime. But he's a great writer. I've read Sins of Our Fathers 4 times. So, and then how about John Wilsbach? Anybody know who John Wilsbach is?
Yeah.
Yes.
He is a longtime newscaster, sportscaster. He's the eye in the sky traffic reporter for Wink 104. I think it's more than just Wink. It's the whole, is that Cumulus? From what I hear, he's not in the sky anymore, Bill. Is that right?
I'm showing it through electronics and internet and phone.
So he's now the eye on the ground.
Yeah.
But he spent a long time as the eye in the actual sky in a helicopter every day. And he's an interesting guy, too. I know him. I'm on the board of the PA Sports Hall of Fame, and he and I are board members together. And that's how we met. We only met recently. And then you at home can recommend topics. That's a lot of topics. There's probably a dozen I just mentioned.
You're going to have to sign us to long-term contracts with that long list.
Well, now remember, there's going to be people that are just, I'm going to get a lot of doors slammed in my face and phones hung up on me. So these are the shows that we're sourcing. Okay. Bill, you know what sourcing means in this.
Yeah, we're trying to tie things down. What you're describing is, when you go to a new place, you need some help finding your way around. And we're essentially going to be tour guides for people who live in central Pennsylvania, showing them new things, explaining things they may not fully know. And so we'll guide you through life. That's what we're going to do.
God, I love that, Bill. Did you just come up with that, or is that written down on a piece?
No, it's on my notes.
Okay, that's good. That's fair enough. But man, that's what we are. Keith, are you ready to be a tour guide for these viewers?
No, I'm just sitting here thinking.
Okay. All right, Bill, you and I will be tour guides. How's that sound?
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I don't say good evening to Dave Caesar.
Dave Caesar,
my number one fan, I think, throughout the last 20 years.
All right.
Is he listening or watching?
I don't know.
You in the night.
I'm not sure. I just want to take a look here and make sure that we are live. Is anybody watching?
It's live. We've been live 18 minutes on my screen.
I thought so. Okay, good. So, and we may get to all those. We may not. We may add some new ones in. But
what?
Bill.
Yeah.
I'm sure a tour guide gets paid better than what we're getting paid.
Yeah. You guys are getting paid the satisfaction of being involved in the podcast.
Yeah.
The same as I'm getting paid.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to point out, you had mentioned, you started out by talking about local happenings, local news. Lower Paxton Township has about 55,000 people living in it, which is more than the city of Harrisburg.
Right? Yeah, city of Harrisburg has about 45, I think.
Yeah, and Lower Paxton's the 17th largest municipality in the state. So it's a major place in terms of population, and we have no news sources, zero, that's focusing on our township. And so not that we're going to be a news source, but we at least point out some things that are happening. And I think that'd be a real valuable thing.
I'd say to a degree we want to be a news source.
Well, yeah,
but we don't want to be only a news source, because then we won't be able to have time to bring on Deuce Gibb and Dan Smith and Shay Quinn and talk about NIL, and there's health and wellness. They're not really like hot news topics. It truly is this and that. Erica, does that sound like this and that?
It does sound like this and that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, and we're going to keep it fun, keep it interesting. So, you know what? I think we're pretty close to the point where we want to start
Yeah,
talking about.
definitely.
Now, listen, hold on, Bill. Bill,
Okay, what's up?
I warned Keith earlier. Now, Erica is a school teacher, so she may have a little more knowledge along the lines of some of these. We're going to do a little trivia before we move on to.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Erica, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel good. I'm ready.
You like to Keith? Keith didn't feel good. I told Keith earlier he didn't feel good. Okay, these are going to be kind of all over the map. These trivia questions are going to be this and that. Okay. Legendary Southern rock band Leonard Skinner had 3 backup singers who went affectionately by what name?
I tell you, any musical question, I usually just say Grassroots.
Well,
That's the only band I know.
I think you would be wrong almost all the time, Bill.
Like rhymes
You're-
with or
you're-
first.
Led Zeppelin.
Let's okay, that's fair enough. It rhymes with Rockettes. You know the Rockettes?
Yeah, that doesn't help.
Radio City.
Doesn't help.
Okay. Does everybody give up?
Yeah.
They were called the Honkettes.
Never
And
heard of
they
Never heard of
consisted of Cassie Gaines, who was the sister of guitarist Steve Gaines. Cassie and Steve both perished on the plane crash in October of '77. JoJo Billingsley and Leslie Hawkins. Okay. We'll get better. Okay, the date, February 3rd, 1959 is commonly known as February 3rd, 1959.
I have no idea.
I seriously,
That's before you were born.
I
I
know.
was born in '58, but I mean,
I seriously, so you wouldn't remember this, Bill.
no.
I seriously am not trying to catch anybody okay.
This is high-end trivia, Joe.
That was the day the music died.
Oh,
Oh,
No, Dave Kunkel, no. We're going to get to the pool talk in about 5 minutes. Dave, I call him Zeiser. Is it Caesar?
Caesar.
He said Bill Bostic is the Lingelstown legend. He just, I'm reading. All right. Okay, so there are 4 Major League Baseball players in history with at least 700 career home runs. Name them.
Babe Ruth,
That's 1.
Hank Aaron,
That's 2.
Bobby Bonds.
That's 3. Very good, Bill.
I don't know about the 4th one.
Mark
Mark McGuire.
Who did you say, Erica?
McGuire.
Oh, they both. No, that's wrong. But you guys both said McGuire. Keith,
No, I don't know the 4th off the
this
top
guy
of my
kind
head.
of snuck in the back door here, just in the.
Sammy Sosa.
No.
No.
Has never been associated with steroids.
Okay.
Kind of upstanding. Had a long career. Played for a team that doesn't get a whole lot of. Played many years for a team that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. I'll just tell you who it is. Albert Pujols.
Okay. I would have never gotten that.
yeah.
I know. I've heard of him.
Finished his career with Cardinals and Angels, right? Yeah.
Yep.
703 home runs. Okay, where is the confluence? You guys know what the confluence is, or confluence point of the 2 longest U.S. rivers? The confluence point is where 2 bodies of water meet.
This isn't trivia. This is geography.
What major U.S. city is close to where the Missouri River and the Mississippi River meet?
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Ah, there we go, Bill. Good job, Bill.
Good guess.
Well, that was a good guess. It's actually 12 miles north of St. Louis, but I was looking for St. Louis. It's in a city called Hartford, Illinois. Very good. Okay. All right, last one. Which of the world's countries is the largest producer of cocoa beans?
Brazil.
Look at Erica. She's her brain. She's grinding. No, it's not Brazil. That's the largest producer of coffee beans, Bill.
I'm trying to think because we just were on a field trip to Chocolate World the other week with the kids, and I know we heard it.
I think they mention it. I think they do mention it. Okay, I'm going to give you a good hint, a really strong hint. The country is in West Africa.
West Africa.
and this country grows more than the next 3 countries combined, which are Ghana, Indonesia, and Ecuador.
What letter does it start with?
I.
What is it?
I. It starts with I.
Oh, I. Yeah.
It's a 2-word name. IC.
Ivory Coast.
Bam. We're gonna give it to you. These are hard. These are hard questions. So if you get them, even with the hints, it counts. You get a full point. So that was Erica and Bill tied with 1. Keith bringing up the rear, but still only 1 behind. Okay, so that's trivia. That's this and that trivia. So okay, we're gonna talk about what we said we'd talk about, and that's Koons Pool. And I'm going to Bill, I think you've prepared some stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, Erica's our Koons Pool guest. But I want to say just a couple things that kind of set things up here. The pool is going to close for this season. They were kind of committed to not opening, I think. And then something happened behind the scenes, and that's what Erica's going to tell us about. And so, Bill, do you want to get Erica going?
Well, I can just tagging off what you just said, Erica. I saw you had come to a Lower Paxton Township meeting. I was at home watching online, and it looked like you kicked the ball off and trying to move things in a different direction, and talking to the supervisors and the manager. So, what happened to take it the next step where you're now moving towards opening?
Hold on. Erica is a board member and was a manager for 14 years.
Right.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have to qualify her because she's very qualified to talk
Right,
about
and the swim team coach.
Swim
You
team
still a
coach.
swim
Okay.
team coach? You still a Piranha coach?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you wear a lot of hats at a lot of rubber caps at the pool.
Yeah, a lot of swim caps.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what happened? After you talked to the board at a meeting, then what happened to get it started moving in this direction where you're going to be opening?
We received some grant money from Representative Kerwin and
Mhm.
Patty Kim.
Okay.
And that money that was granted to us was enough to cover us for the summer coming up, so that we can use what we are going to make to start looking at repair. Because we were looking at possible repairs with very little in the bank, and with our water bills had been the past few summers, we were looking at very much possibly not being able to pay the bills if we remained open.
There was an existing $28,000 water bill. Is that correct?
Yes, our last water bill for the summer 24.
That's a pretty big bill when you're bringing in money. How much is a family?
A family membership is $300.
Yes.
You can also go for the day for $15. So
it cost a lot of 300s to make 28,000.
Right.
Erica, was that for the season or was that just for the month of August?
That was our last monthly bill. So it was like mid-July, like end of July through August.
Up till Labor Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I live near Koons Pool, within walking distance, and I go to Turkey Hill on Mountain Road every day for coffee. And I was going by there, and I saw there was a leak detection company. There were 2 guys at the hydrant where I guess you turn things on and off, and back at the pool. Have they found where the leak is at yet?
They've found some small leaks, but not what we're thinking.
I'm not sure.
All right, so it's still being investigated to find out what's really going on.
I believe that they've checked out the possibilities that they can check out without really digging up the ground.
Okay.
Which is the next step. But they found a couple small ones, but it's not what we're thinking is the big.
Erica, who owns and operates the pool? I mean, is it a different owner than operator, or is it more than one person? Is it a corporation?
Yeah, so Lower Paxton Township owns the property, and the Koons Pool Board leases it from them and operates the pool. So
yeah, it's all volunteer run. It's all, I think.
Yeah, it's all. We are a 501c4, not a 501c3. So I guess there's a little bit of a difference.
Only by one number.
By one number, right?
I don't know what that is though. I operate a 501c3 myself, but what is a 501c4? Don't you know?
I really don't know. The difference, I believe, is that it's not a tax write-off if people donate money to.
Okay, that's probably it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is the pool profitable?
Well, that's kind of a point of contention. We aren't in a negative balance. We don't turn a huge profit, but what we make each year covers our bills.
Okay, and I only ask that because it's $300 for a family. You have to have a lot. I mean, then you're selling whatever you're selling there. You know, it's snack bar, and I don't know what else you do to generate revenue. But I mean, it just seems like, and I'm sure that you don't want to raise the prices too often, the fees,
Right.
membership fees, because you don't want to lose people, and that people are probably not used to spending a lot of money to join the pool, right?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of what we bring in is through our walk-in rate. So we are the only pool in the area that allows people to just come for the day. So you don't have to be a guest of a member. You don't have to live in Lower Paxton. You can come in and pay and swim for the day.
So Keith can throw his Speedo on, right? and his flip flops. Would he have to wear a t-shirt though, at least until he gets inside? I mean, that's just a Speedo. Okay. Wow, Keith, there you go, buddy. Actually, Keith has a pool at his development, but we might want to go out and about in the town one day and take a look at that.
Hey, Joe, I think what happened over the years, at some point, the prior board decided to open it up to people just walking in who didn't have a membership. And so what has happened is word is spread about that. So groups will come into the park, have a picnic, and then part of their outing is going to be to go to the pool. So then I think that's what Eric is saying, that so much of the money is coming from walk-ins because it just not, pools like that are not around anymore. You have to have a membership, which isn't the case here.
Erica, I can imagine
pretty
like
cool on the
last
weekend.
year, I can imagine last year when we hit them 90, 95, then almost 100s there for about 10 or 12 days straight. I'm pretty sure you guys got busy.
Yeah, we were packed.
That's when the non-pool people become pool people during those days. And Bill, you made a good point. I never thought about that. Most of these pools in the area are like kind of standalone facilities. It's just a pool. Like I live near Devon Manor, and Devon Manor is a great pool. And I grew up going to Penn Colonial. Everything you did was within the fences of the pools. At Koons Park, it's an entire park, and it's a big park, and there's a lot going on there with a pool within the grounds. Right, Erica?
Yeah. In fact, that was like when I didn't know there was a pool there. And I grew up not far from here. I grew up swimming in Mid-Penn Swim League. I've been to all the pools around here. I never knew there was a pool at Koons Park because there wasn't a swim team there. And I had just never been back there. When I went for my interview, it was like one of the first warm Saturdays in like April. And I just fell in love with the place. Like there was baseball games going on. People were walking their dogs. Kids were riding bikes. I was like, this is so great. This is like a literal, community pool. Like
it really is.
Here having a great time. It was a beautiful day. I just love it.
Yeah, one of the big events. I'm not sure if they're going to do it this year, but whenever Koons Park hosts the July 3rd fireworks or whenever it happens, the pool is opening it up to the public to come in and have a pool party and viewing the fireworks from the pool, which I don't think George is the president anymore, but George Kunkel always was very proud of the fact it was the best place to watch the fireworks from because it's a little bit elevated and you're not being blocked by people in front of you and that kind of thing. So
that sounds like there's no better place to watch fireworks from than within the pool, the confines of the pool. So go ahead, Bill.
Have you been able to find a new set of board members? Because it sounded like the prior group, after many, many years of loyal service, have decided not to continue on. Some of them, anyways.
Yes, we actually just last week held a meeting, and we nominated and voted on a new executive board. Some have stayed, some are new. But a cool thing I think is our new board president is Megan Bartow, and her dad was Charles Bartow, and he had been board president for a long time, a couple decades ago, I think now. And so I like that. Like, it's kind of just, keeping it, with the spirit that it started.
Yeah.
And
She probably cares like he did.
Yeah.
That's so. Tell us this, Erica. We know that you can go there and swim, but what else is offered there? Like, I grew up at Penn Colonial, and we had dance. I learned to dance at Penn Colonial Pool when I was like 12 years old. They had like I think it was like 12 and 13 and 14-year-olds. They were kind of like adolescent kids. That's where I learned to dance. They had like steak night for the adults, steaks and baked potatoes for the adults. Kids weren't allowed. They had adult swim and just different things. Are there any theme days or theme nights or things that make Koons maybe different from the other pools in the area?
We did a flick and float, I think we called it, where we showed Jaws, and people could come in and float on their inner tubes and watch the movie, and that was kind of cool. We've talked about doing like some adult nights and some teen nights. We're not quite there yet as far as like specifics of it, but I would like to move in that direction. I think that would be fun. I did the pool that I grew up going to. We had teen nights every Tuesday, and it was fun. So hopefully we can get something like that going.
Flick and float. If you do that again and you show Jaws again, Bill and I'll swim underwater and grab people by the foot. Man, that would scare the heck out of you, wouldn't it?
It was.
Yeah, that's a movie that never gets old.
Hey, Eric, are you still involved with the Piranha swim team?
Yes, I'm the head coach.
So why don't you just describe for those who don't know what that team's all about, and maybe who could participate, what you try and do there?
So we are open for swimmers age 4 to 18, and we compete in the Mid-Penn Swim League. We accept swimmers of all levels and abilities. We have swimmers who are highly competitive. We have swimmers who are just starting out. And we focus on just creating a very inclusive atmosphere. We have swimmers with disabilities. And we just, to me, like, I grew up swimming competitively, and I also coach high school swimming. This is a different vibe. This is, we're teaching you the sport of competitive swimming, but we're also teaching, becoming part of a team, personal accountability, just, working on things within your own limitations and your own goals, and rooting each other on while you do that. Because summer swimming is a lot more relaxed. So we really focus on just like the team aspect and, just the fun parts and positive parts of being part of a team.
Can people sign up for this season, or is that closed already?
Nope, we just opened registration because we weren't sure if we were going to continue on. Because if Koons doesn't open, we don't have a home,
Right.
Which is the reasons why I've been so motivated and trying to keep things going, because my team needs a place to swim. So we did just open up registration, and we'll have that when we're working on our website now, and we'll have links on the website for anybody that wants to try out swim team and see if it's for them.
Okay, yeah, be sure to have links on koonspool.com for that.
So
for the team.
About like the way that the park is set there, we practice at night. A lot of other teams practice in the morning, but we're more of night people. And I've had so many kids just walk up while we were having practice, and they're like, "My brother's at baseball. I just see what you guys are doing. Can I try?" And sure.
Yeah, that's just why I mentioned the website. If you go to koonspool.com, you'll find the rates are there, I know for sure. Maybe a form you can download if you want to become a member of the pool. So all that stuff's at the website.
So can somebody come out and get like a tour? I mean, I know it's a pool. Okay, we know that. But I think there's certain people that they like to go out and see what's going on there, before, if this looks like an environment that looks, suitable to them. Can they go out and say, hey, I want to just if they want to take a swim, we know they could do that for a fee, but will somebody walk them around and kind of show them the ropes?
Yeah.
Okay. So when does the season start?
We in the past, Memorial Day weekend has been our opening day. We are a little bit behind our time frame now with, not being sure if we were going to open. We're still looking at hiring staff. We have a lot of just details to iron out. So we're not completely committed to being open Memorial Day weekend. We'd like to be, but Memorial Day weekend is early this year too. So, but our goal would definitely be to be open before school is out.
Way, way better to have it open a little late than not at all.
Right.
I'm sure you guys want to make sure everything's in order and you're ready to open it up, not just forcing it open at a certain date.
Yeah. The other thing that people good for the pool for people to know that, this is completely run by volunteers. I believe it, some of the kids get paid to be a lifeguard, and you pay the snack bar people and all that kind of stuff. But it's a volunteer organization. So what kind of volunteer help are you looking for this year? If you know.
I mean, we always are interested in anybody that has a set of skills they could loan to us. But it really is just in the spring is the heavy load of what we have to do. And we've been down in the pool, fishing out leaves and gook, trying to, move the water so we can patch it and paint it. I mean, it's a lot of manual work, and it's also just a lot of time commitment.
Sure.
And we have, the people who have volunteered at the pool have just been an amazing group of people.
Do you have someone to mow the grass? I used to do that.
I remember you used to do that. I think we have found someone who was willing to help us out with the grass. But anybody who's a plumber, we always plumbing help, painters, anything like that.
Yeah, what was the problem there? Was there a clog? I mean, do pools get clogs? I guess they do.
Yeah, and the restrooms get used heavily, and not always wisely. So there's plumbing issues from time to time, because everything at that pool is very old.
Yeah. So the pool itself, does that need any major maintenance?
Well, aside from the leak, it's holding
leak.
up.
That's right. I forgot. I was thinking it was plumbing, but it was a leak.
But every company that we've had come out and look at things, they always are like, it's old, but it looks really good. We're kind of surprised at how well everything's going.
They don't build those pools like they used to, Erica, huh?
No, they don't build them at all.
No, that's true. Yeah, they're all the same pools as there were 60 years ago, right? 70 years ago.
Because even in the past 10 years or so, Latchmere Manor has closed.
Yep.
Lincoln has closed. Rainbow Hills has closed. Wedgwood Hills has closed. And they're not real pools. So just in this area alone, a lot of pools have closed.
Eric,
Go ahead, Keith.
Have they isolated the problem for the leaks?
No, and as I said, we found a couple of small leaks, but we're not, and we won't know until we have them filled up and we can monitor the water flow to really know if that was the main problem or not. But given what the water bill was, I don't think that the small leaks that they found were what the main problem was.
Have they looked at the structure of the pool itself, the integrity of the structure of the pool?
Yes.
All right, and there's nothing there.
No, it must.
That we know of.
The fear, I think, would be that it's underneath the pool, but it's not in the water line. That's what if you saw they were when they were down by the fire hydrant. That they said it's not. They checked that whole line and it's not that. So, which is a relief, but still then a mystery of where that water is going.
You have to keep in mind this is a 65-year-old pool, so everything everything underground we can't see. It has been there a long time.
Right.
I think we also would be a little bit remiss if we don't. The pool is going through, a couple. This I think is at least the second major change around for leadership and finding people to run it and all that kind of thing. And the second group that came in, and there's just a lot. Some of them are retired. I don't have all. You might be able to help me out a little bit. But I know George Kunkel's put a lot of time in helping you get grant money and whatnot as president over the last decade or so. Eileen Hoover lives near the pool. She was a long time. Is she still a treasurer?
She is not. Last summer was the first summer that she was not treasurer.
Yeah, it's Eileen Hoover. Also a key volunteer, just passed away, is Walt Chateau, who had the mower shop on Route 39 east of the village. And the woman who works with the Blind Association, I can't even come up with her name out of my brain.
That's Danette Blank.
Yeah, Danette Blank. I think it sounds like she's still helping out.
Yes, she was the president this past year, and she has resigned as president, but she stayed on as an advisor.
Okay. So, and there's other people that I'm not aware of over the years that have helped out, but I mean, they've been these people I mentioned have been key over the last decade or so.
Yeah, Walter especially. Walter was the man. He could fix anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a Walter around.
Yeah.
He helped me out to get the mowers that when I first started mowing there, the mowers weren't in great shape. So Walt got a lot of calls to help get the mowers running again.
Well, Erica, we want to thank you. Just as, again, I use the term Lower Paxtonians. I mean, I'm not a pool member. I don't know if I'll go there or not, but I like that my community has a pool open and operating, and there still are Penn Colonial still in operation, Devon Manor. So there's a handful out there in this area, but like we were kind of the picture we were trying to paint earlier, Koons is kind of different, that it sits right in the middle of this big park, and Linglestown is just a Mayberry of a community still, even in 2025. I think it has like a small town feel. You guys allow guests. I mean, I guess maybe the other pools do too, but it's a great place. Bill, you mentioned pack a picnic lunch and go and play some baseball, some salt, whatever, basketball, and then go to the pool. I mean, everything's right there. You want to say anything else, Erica, about the pool, about the upcoming season?
No, we just are really grateful for all the community support we received when we, first put out the word that we were trying to save the pool. Did a petition. We got over 600 people to sign the petition, and just from Lower Paxton, because you had to put your in. And I thought that was really nice, like that many people were that supportive and that invested in trying to help us. So we're just grateful to still be fighting to keep. We're hoping for a good summer, and keep it going for as long as possible.
Well, we're grateful for you. We really are, and I'm sure the community is too. Let's give Erica a little round of applause. So thank you for joining us tonight, Erica. Thanks for putting up with us for the first segment.
The first one here. That was great.
You tied for first in trivia. Not bad for the first episode.
This and that Hall of Fame already.
All right, already. Yes, she's going to be a trivia question.
Yeah, there you go.
Who got the first question right? This and that trivia. So let's just go down this. I'm just going to kind of shoot through it. I just want to let people know that maybe joined us late. These are some of the topics or guests that we're going to be bringing to you, hopefully. We're going to talk a little bit about Lower Paxton Township government, more specifically what's been going on with the Board of Supervisors. That is a topic of a lot of contention, a lot of interest right now. Central Dauphin School Board, there's always something going on there. That's our local school district, Central Dauphin. We're going to have a handful of Central Pennsylvania musicians. These are kind of like rock and roll guys who have been playing in and around the Harrisburg area for many, many years. I'm just going to name drop one or two. Deuce Gibb from the Martini Brothers. Great guy, awesome guy. He owns a hair salon over in New Cumberland, but we're going to have him and Dan Smith, Jeffrey Gaines, Shay Quinn, Mike Giblin. Hopefully, that's all the ones that we're sourcing. We're We're going to do a show on addiction and recovery, the challenges of schools in lower income communities, Stilton High Spire School District, the challenges that they're having. We're going to do a show on money management. We have a friend, Scott Weaver, who's a certified financial planner. He's going to come in and I guess kind of counsel people, and let them know what's out there. And I know that I went many years without having any kind of plan at all as to what to do with my money. And don't be afraid. If you are afraid, get past that and go out there and try to figure out what you can do. NIL and transfer portal in college athletics. We're going to talk about that. Health and wellness show on charter schools, increasing crime in the Harrisburg area. Local author Bill Kiesling, John Wilsbach, who's been a newscaster, sportscaster, and a traffic reporter since I think the 80s. And then again, you can recommend a topic. Come on our page if you have a topic that you that's kind of near and dear to your heart, or something you know about, or something you want to know about. Recommend it. We're wide open for suggestions. So, and again, we are looking for sponsors, and the way I'm kind of approaching that is that we have no sponsors at this point. Lincolnstown Gazette Sports, I have 15 sponsors. That's a lot of sponsors, and they re-sign up with us almost every year. So what we do has been attractive and has been, I guess the sponsors have been satisfied, but we want you to see what we're doing, what we're offering, the topics we're looking to bring to our viewers before you decide if partnering with us as a sponsor might be beneficial for you. That's fair enough, right?
Yeah,
fair enough.
I was doing one thing we didn't talk about to help promote the pool. I did these wacky weather reports.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Out of the blue, a local insurance agency approached me about sponsoring it. And the thought was that guy wanted to own that show. So,
right.
So that's possible if you work something out like that.
Yeah, we don't need 15 sponsors. We want a handful. We might want to, what do you call it? A name sponsor or a title sponsor?
Title sponsor. There you
title go. Sponsor. We might want a title sponsor, then maybe a couple more like segment sponsors.
There you go.
Really hard trivia brought to you by, something like that. So, all right, Keith, thank you for sitting in. We appreciate it. Bill Bostic, my old partner, back in the saddle again. Who sang that song? Erica, you can jump in.
Sammy Davis Jr.
You're so far off. You're so far off. I'm taking that point from you that you earned in the first round.
Arlo Guthrie.
No. Aerosmith. Back in the saddle again.
Oh.
I think there was actually another Back in the Saddle again
You might want to check. It might be Arlo Guthrie.
Did he have his own version, huh? Or I guess. Huh.
Hey Joe, you start talking about Taylor Swift music. I'll be all over that.
All right, next time, Bill. Arlo Guthrie. If you're sure about that, we're going to give you a point.
I'm not sure. But...
Well, hold on. This is
Roy Rogers or Dale Evans.
I think it might be like Roy Rogers or something. Hold on a second. Gene Autry. Gene Autry.
Yep.
Gene Autry.
Didn't Gene Autry own the Angels baseball team?
California Angels. Yes, he did. Erica's probably like, God, I got to get out of here now. All right. Well,
Joe. Good joining you tonight.
Yeah, that was fun, you guys.
Well, invite me back when you do the charter school episode.
I will. I promise I will. All right. So for Keith and Bill and Erica, I'm Joe Gilloway. This is This and That, the podcast. And we will be back and reconvene, I guess, maybe in a week or so. Thanks, everyone. Take care.